Hello, folks. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about some scams that I heard from my friend today and some scams that I've generally heard about, like, say, from TED Talks and all, right? So, first, my friend, a colleague, my teammate, was talking about how some people are stupid. He was surprised, he was a bit annoyed that how come people are stupid, how come they can't, recognize scams and whatnot, and how he can recognize scams very easily. Yeah, it is sad, and he was surprised because someone actually paid crores and crores of money to scammers, and he was like, how come they, like, some amount of money is one thing, but then how come they gave crores and crores of money to scammers? Maybe the victim was probably kind of involved with something else or whatever, I don't know what, right? So apparently the problem was this, right? So say some person XYZ was called by the scammer. The scammer called person XYZ and said, someone sent you illegal items, or you sent illegal items, or someone sent illegal items in your name to someone in Singapore or whatever, and or anywhere, and then it got caught in the customs. So you need to actually now explain this and whatnot, and basically this went on, I guess, and they basically extracted crores and crores of money, apparently, or 1 crore, I don't know what, but quite some money. And this was on the news apparently, and my colleague was reading this. And my colleague also mentioned something similar with respect to his friend who got a call. So apparently my colleague and his friend were in my colleague's house, they were talking, and suddenly my colleague's friend got a call, and he put the call on speaker after talking for some time. And initial conversation was basically again the same thing. Someone sent, you sent something, or no, someone sent to you something, and something like that. Interestingly, my colleague's friend had actually gotten calls before also, some for the past 2 3 days or 4 days, but he had been putting the call off because he was at work. The call was about him getting a parcel or a package, and in this call, basically, his friend asked, or his friend called up the scammers, I think, I don't know, wherein the friend asked, I've been told that I got a parcel or a package. Can you tell me more about it? Apparently, they knew his name and, of course, his mobile number. That's why they made the call to his mobile number, but they knew his name also. I guess it's very easy to get someone's name these days. Interestingly, they had his perfect correct name also, I think. That's what my colleague says. But so what the scammer did was they asked the friend's name and the tracking ID. I think they would have sent SMS and all, short message service, SMS, text. So regarding this tracking ID and all, so he told the name and text, the tracking ID. Interestingly, the scammer said there is no parcel for you, right? Ideally, they should have said yes, there is a parcel, and but got caught in customs and whatnot. And then they said there is no order or like package or any item in your name, no parcel in your name, and they spelt out his name, but apparently they spelled out his name incorrectly, missing out a H in the name, right? So that's what my colleague said, and my colleague thinks they intentionally did this. And then my colleague's friend apparently said, hey, you missed a H in the name. That's not the correct name. The correct name is this, along with the H, and they spelled out the exact full name. And then the scammer said, yes, there is a package in your name, there's a parcel in your name to you. And it is now stuck in customs. It has been caught by customs because it has some illegal items, and now I'll transfer your call to someone else, right, who takes care of this and who will actually talk to you about this. So now the my colleague's friend got scared, right? So my colleague understood that this is a scam, and he started abusing the scammers over the call. And at some point, they were saying stuff like police and cops and stuff like that, and they said, okay, yeah, whatever, bring it on. And some, I think my colleague was also saying stuff like funny stuff like, yeah, we send guns, we have a connection to the underworld, we have the connection to the mafia and whatnot. And then finally, my colleague, I think he just started fighting, and then later the scammers cut the call, right? So interestingly, my colleague's friend was scared. My colleague's friend apparently was like, "Why are you saying all this? Why are you saying that we have connection to the underworld or the mafia, or we sent guns? Why are you saying this, dude, and whatnot?" So basically, my colleague's friend believed it, right? So it's easy to believe stuff sometimes for some people. They are a bit naive, or they are just not in the mindset to actually think in a different way and whatnot, and think that this is probably not me, or this is probably not for me, or this is probably a scam, or they probably got the wrong person and whatnot, right? Um, and it's very easy to think that it is them, because sometimes these scammers tell the right names and all, so that time it's hard for them to think it's not them and whatnot. Anyways, another scam my colleague mentioned was about his cousin, I think, who was apparently in college, and she had applied for a job or some jobs in Naukri.com, which is actually a job platform where she had applied for jobs. And then after 2 3 days, she apparently got a call, wherein the woman on the call spoke to this girl, college girl, saying that, hey, you had applied on this website, you put incorrect information, and because of that we are banning you from the job platform for 5 years, and since you put incorrect information, we are also sending a police and whatnot, right? And basically she started scaring her off, the girl, the college girl. And she told stuff like, so basically the college girl, I think, started asking, what can I do now, right? And the woman said, basically she didn't talk about police first. Instead she said, like, now what do you do, like, pay me some amount of money and I'll fix the information and I'll remove the ban. And this girl didn't have money, and she said, I don't have money, right? So then this woman said, I'll send police and whatnot, I'll send the cops. Apparently this girl was also told that, don't hang up the phone, be on the line and talk to me. Basically the idea is, they don't want the girl or the victim, any victim in case of any scam, to actually be able to think, right? They don't want them to think, they don't want the victims to think, because if the victims think, they will realize that it's a scam or something is wrong or whatever, right? The sense of urgency, the fear, and the momentum that they have in the conversation and whatnot is what the scammers want, right? So this woman was having momentum in the conversation, and she understood that this girl got scared, and now she's taking advantage of it, right? So while taking advantage of it, she's also clearly saying that, don't hang up, right? So now what the girl smartly does is, she apparently used her friend's phone and then called my colleague. Funnily, my colleague was sleeping, and since it was her friend's phone that she called from, my colleague looked at the number and understood that it's an unknown number, and then since he was sleeping, he thought he'll just respond back later, right? He'll call back later, and he just left it. So he missed the call, and intentionally, right? And to return the call later, and say after an hour or something. So the girl actually then called up his mom, my colleague's mom, and then my colleague's mom called up my colleague, and then he woke up, and then he spoke, and he understood the situation, and he was like, okay. So he got the call from the cousin's friend's number. That's why the unknown number, and that's why he understood that he didn't get really any call from his sister's phone directly, which his mom was referring to. And then his mom said, no, dude, like, it's from the friend's phone number and whatnot. Finally he spoke to his sister, his cousin sister, and then he told, dude, just tell them that, it's fine, let it be there. If there is a ban, okay. If the police will come, okay, we'll take care of it and whatnot. Basically he understood it's a scam, and he said that, see, they're just lying, but whatever it is, just say we'll take care of it, and just say okay to everything. So then later, of course, nothing happened. But the thing is, my colleague was smart enough to understand that there is a scam going on, right? And interestingly, when my friend was saying this incorrect information, I was like, okay, so people generally put their own information on online platforms, right? On job platforms and all. The job platform really cannot say what is the right information or what is the wrong information, unless they know that this is the person who is applying, and this is the person's write information, say through their government verification or proof and whatnot, and this is the information that they put on the system, and that's why this is wrong or right and whatnot, right? They have to do background checks and whatnot to be able to tell something is right or wrong. So they can't really very easily say some information is right or wrong, right? Only the person applying can easily say. And to tell some information is right or wrong with along with proof, right? Let's say I tell my name is Karpa Natarajan, and I need to first of all give proof next that my name is Karpa Natarajan using a government ID proof and whatnot. And then some background verification companies exist that do these checks, wherein they look at the proof that I gave and they look at the information that I gave to the system and then understand if I gave the right information, right? So I don't think these job platforms take government ID proofs and all. I doubt it. So how can they even find out someone gave incorrect information or correct information and whatnot? Anyways, but there are many loopholes that can happen when scammers are trying to scam you. So if you can just find one loophole, or if you can just be calm and be like, even if all of this is true, I'll be calm and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, there are really, really bad cases. For example, I've heard cases of like, it's popular apparently in India, where women actually say force men to marry them, women abuse men to marry them and whatnot. And then there are cases where this is apparently in rural places in India, apparently. And then there are cases where women actually file false rape cases on men, right? So the idea is to basically extort money, I believe that's the term. Basically extract money or get money from these men by blackmailing them. And apparently there are gangs of people, groups of people who do this scam, wherein they actually file false rape cases on men. Apparently some women have filed multiple false rape cases on men in the same police station, you know, police station or like office or whatever, right? Mostly police station. I don't know if there's any other term for police station. Anyways, so and this has happened actually in India a lot, apparently, and some people, big shots like say doctors, politicians, and whatnot, I guess, have also been affected. Say doctors and whatnot, or people who have lots of money, and apparently one gang scammed 32 or 33 people and got 32 crores of money, right? That's a lot of money. Apparently the gang has scammers, so they have women, they have men, they also have officials, that is actual police officers, actual lawyers, who help these scammers, right? So apparently the idea is the woman basically lures and seduces the man, makes forms a relationship with the man, and then somehow tries to have sex with him or something, or at least ends up in a place where they can have sex, say a hotel room, a private hotel room, and regardless of if they had sex or not that night, consensual sex or whatever it is, the next morning the girl actually gets out of the hotel room or whatever, and finally the girl reports that this guy raped me, right? Or they tell the guy that I'll actually file a complaint against you, so pay me money or else I'll file a complaint against you, and then use the police officers and lawyers to intimidate the person and then get the money, right? And some people, I think, just do it not just for money, probably just to ruin someone's life. That's all. Some people don't want money. Some people just want to feel that they have the power to ruin someone's life. The same is true for even scammers. Like if they can't get money from you, they'll at least try to ruin your life. So, for example, in my one of my previous videos, I was showing how I got an email saying that I did some offense with respect to child sexual offense. Some child pornography content was circulated by me, or something was done by me with respect to child pornography, and because of that being illegal, with the POXO Act, which is Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act. It is illegal, and they'll expose me to media, and they'll send information about me to media and organizations fighting pedophilia and whatnot. maybe they might actually do it, and these associations might just believe that there is someone like this, and let's catch this guy, let's put this guy's name out there. A lot of people have been falsely accused of bad stuff. For example, in this case, say falsely accuse someone of like child pornography content production, or circulation, or something like false rape cases and whatnot, right? But the thing is, one needs to understand that no matter what happens, one needs to be as much as possible strong and understand that if they have not done any mistake, they can actually ensure that they can be calm and try to work towards how to get out of the problem. Because once they get to you and ruin you, it's just really hard. There are a lot of people with all these false rape cases who are still struggling. I've heard this case where some man got into this whole Me Too thing, wherein some woman said that she was harassed by some man, though he didn't harass her, and she put it on social media or something, and she went off the country. She went away from India. He's in India, and apparently he's not able to get his kid admitted to school, his child, his daughter admitted to school, and he's not getting jobs in India because he's been falsely accused as part of this Me Too movement, where women are talking about sexual offenses and sexual harassment, cases from history and whatnot, right? So some people, I mean, I understand that women should be able to, easily report crimes like rape and sexual harassment and whatnot, and the offenders should be punished and all that. But then what happens when the ease is actually used as a loophole to actually trap men, to blackmail men, to ruin men's lives, to ruin people's lives, to ruin a whole family and whatnot, right? That's just bad stuff, right? So I've also heard this, like there's this one TED talk. It isn't about scams, but it talks about one scam wherein a daughter talks about her father. The father gets a call from someone, some stranger, and the stranger says, "We have kidnapped your daughter," right? And he says, "Don't hang up the phone, and we need you to give me money, and don't call the police, don't call 911. This is in the US, I believe, so don't call 911." And this dad, who is actually pretty old, and the daughter is also pretty old, but the daughter lives away from the parents. This dad, he is just just like he's just stuck. He is not able to think. He is like, oh my god, my daughter. He has only one daughter or two daughters, I think, and he is like, what do I do now? And then he actually writes down call 911 on a paper and shows it to his wife while he's on the call. And he keeps talking, and he goes to a bank to actually get money, right? All this while he is actually asking the kidnappers to actually get him to talk to his daughter and whatnot. And the kidnappers are like, yeah, we will. Apparently, they did let him then talk to his daughter. Finally, he was going to get the money. And at that moment, the police were there, and somehow they reached out. Apparently, the kidnappers, or whoever the stranger was, they hadn't kidnapped the daughter actually. They just lied that they kidnapped, okay? And the daughter is actually somewhere else. And the mother tried to call the daughter, and she couldn't, as in she couldn't reach her daughter because I think she was doing something or at work or something, right? And so in some presentation or something. And then later the daughter called back her mom, understood the situation, and then called back the police. The mom was in the in the house. So, and the father and the police were in the bank, outside the bank. And the police spoke to the daughter, and after the daughter called the police, and then the police actually talks to the dad and then says, don't get the money, and your daughter is safe. And then the police gives the phone to the dad, and then dad talks to the daughter, and then he realizes that it is actually his daughter, and his daughter is safe. He just breaks down, right? He cries and breaks down. And then the daughter talks about how her father is pretty smart, and pretty strong generally, but his vulnerability or the weakness is that his kids, his daughters, right? If something is wrong, or if there is going to be some harm to his daughters, he's going to be very, very scared, right? He's just going to break down. So that's his vulnerability, right? The scammers, the kidnappers, or what, like the scammers basically, they didn't kidnap really, right? So the scammers used the dad's vulnerability, any dad's vulnerability of losing their child, to actually manipulate the dad, to control the dad, to get money from the dad, right? So the daughter talks about how even the smartest of people can lose it. And apparently, the girl who spoke on the phone from the scammer's phone to the dad it wasn't her voice, but in that situation, the dad thought it was his daughter, and he believed that it was his daughter, and he just believed it, right? If he didn't believe it, he would just be like, okay, this is a scam. But he knows how his daughter sounds. Probably he thought the daughter is not having a good voice because she got hurt by these scammers or the kidnappers, or she's not in a good state to talk properly and whatnot. Anyways, she was probably like crying and talking and not talking clearly, maybe. But yeah, I mean, that's what the daughter was saying, how some random person, some stranger girl spoke to him, spoke to her dad, and the dad believed that it was her. Because in that situation, he would just do anything to actually save his daughter, and he wouldn't leave anything to chance wherein he thinks that it's a scammer, so he doesn't have to worry and whatnot. He wouldn't leave it to chance, right? So some people are going to be having vulnerabilities, and some people are prone to vulnerabilities, of course. It's important for them to understand their vulnerabilities, their weaknesses, what they love, what they can't live without, what they want, and what they would not give up. And it's important to understand these, so that you know what your vulnerabilities are, and you know what people can use against you, right? For example, people have, so kids are, of course, one vulnerability for a dad. And for a person, public image could be a vulnerability. Like a bad public image, they wouldn't want it. So if a scammer says, I know you had child pornographic content and I am a cybercrime cell, I will expose you to the news media. You see, I'll put your name on the whole of the internet. Now, if bad public image is a problem for you, then you would totally actually, abide by their rules, obey their words, and pay them money and whatnot, right? And what if kids these days do random bad stuff, right? They put out nudes, they give out nudes to friends and their boyfriends and whatnot. They share nudes, they share bad stuff that shouldn't be shared. They take pictures of stuff that shouldn't be taken. And when this happens, and when scammers say they get hold of this somehow, or they act like they got hold of it, they lie that they got hold of it, and they say, we will expose you, we will expose your nude pictures and whatnot. The first thing, let's say a girl kid or even a boy kid will think is, say, especially girl kids, like who are very, very vulnerable to such things, and who are very, like, sensitive usually, and like, oh my god, my nude pictures are going to be exposed, right? And even a boy would think the same, most probably, right? Though not all women, all girls, not all men, not all boys would think the same, but of course, usually they'll be like, oops, my news are going to be exposed. Now, what do I do? So the thing is, understand that you made a mistake by taking the nude pictures, but it's not your mistake. Um, I mean, it's okay that you took nudes, though you shouldn't have, and don't beat yourself up about it. And it's important to understand that you didn't make any mistake, that you deserve to be exposed. And expose is just a term that these scammers use, right? You don't deserve to be actually shamed in public for taking pictures of yourself in nude pictures, or some compromising pictures of yourself, or of yourself, say having sex with someone or whatever, right? Or doing something wrong or something bad or whatever. You need to be strong, and you need to be like, okay, it's fine even if they do it, but you are not going to give in to the blackmail of these people. And it's important to get help from your family and explain things to them, explain things to your friends, colleagues, whoever is actually close to you, whoever is going to actually think good about you or bad about you and how it affects you and whatnot, you and your life and whatnot. And of course, get help from a psychiatrist and a psychologist and all to understand how you can deal with this, right? So it's important for people to understand how to deal with blackmailers, scammers who are just trying to get money from you, who are trying to ruin your life and whatnot, right? And especially when they don't get money, they will try to just ruin your life out of anger. This is similar to how thieves, when they get into a house, they break into a house and they don't find anything, but then they harm the whole house, they cause chaos, and then they get out of the house because they couldn't find anything of value. So they just are pissed off and they mess up the house and they leave. Similar to that, if they can't get money from you, they will at least try to ruin your life as much as possible. So try to ensure that you are not giving into that and you are not affected by it as much as possible, and you protect yourself from the scammers and whatever their acts are. And and ensure that you don't give in to their blackmailing and their controlling and manipulation and all that, right? And their intimidation and whatnot. So it's important to understand scammers, scamming, blackmailers, people who want to harm you, ruin your life, ruin you, and break you, right? So just understand that sometimes life is not easy, and there are a lot of bad people out there, and it's important to be aware, and to be careful. So yeah, that's all I had for this video, talking about scammers and scams and all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.